Liz is so hard to talk about. Liz is so hard to talk. Why is Liz so hard to talk about? Hi, I'm Inky, and I record D&D rambling character videos in my closet. I've had to restart this voiceover about 3 times as many as I usually have to, because Liz is really hard to talk about for some reason. But I'm gonna talk about her anyway. If you have not seen the last video, which statistically speaking you probably haven't, it's the red video. You're gonna need to understand the red video because I'm going to be making constant reference to it because Liz is sort of the sequel character to Red. So here's a card for that. And here's a little break. I'm gonna count you down and you're gonna go watch the red video if you haven't, and then you're gonna come back. 3, 2, 1. Alright, we've all watched the red video now, I'm assuming. Hopefully. If not, I'll try to keep you in the loop, but I make no such promises. The character you're seeing on screen right now, her name is Alizarin. We're calling her Liz for short. Alizarin is a shade of red, like dye, substance. It can be both used in art and science. I believe its use in art is largely discontinued, but don't quote me on that. She's named that because it's a shade of red. And if I'm not mistaken, don't quote me on it, but it's a particularly light fast shade of red, which I named her that because I thought it was funny. I thought it was cool because Red died really young. So, she's kind of light fast in a way. So Alizarin is the result of that. Therefore, she's named after a light fast shade of red. She's also got a lot of butterfly motifs going on. She's got the moth butterfly wings. Can be read as either. That's kind of on purpose. She's got the spines on her ribcage. They look like the butterfly tattoo she had when she was red. And she's got... the horns are supposed to look a little bit curled inward like they're butterfly antennae. They're still devil horns, but they're slightly butterfly antennae-esque in my heart. And now to answer the burning question, is Liz red or not? You will see often that in captions and posts and the like, I will refer to Liz as red, but also not red, but also red, but not really, type of thing. Red and Alizarin have the same soul, right? Red bet her soul against one of the archduchesses of the house, and she lost the bet, so the archduchess got to keep the soul. But instead of just getting a soul coin out of it, she was like, nah, I'm taking this one, I'm making a devil. I'm making a devil out of this one. So, same soul, they do not share one continuous memory. Alizarin has no memory of her life as Red, and Red is kind of gone in the sense that they are not a one-to-one recreation of the same thing, but they do have the same core fundamentals. So I would say that they are different people with the same soul. And therefore, some aspects of Red as a person carry over onto Liz. For example, Red was chaotic evil aligned in life, and that makes Alizarin the one devil that is not lawful aligned. Devils are supposed to be lawful aligned, like, ontologically. It's just a thing. Every devil is lawful aligned because every devil is just like that. It is part of a devil's nature. Alizarin is not chaotic aligned because she is still a devil. She's still bound to it. But Red was enough of a fucking disaster in her life that Alizarin is a neutral aligned devil. Alizarin's alignment is neutral evil. She is still obligated by the nature of her existence to abide by contracts. She cannot bypass infernal law. But she does not much care for the spirit of the law, or the letter of the law. She will often make a bit of a mess of things by being like that, but, Now, the juicy part.
Who wants to hear about toxic yuri?
That's right, friendos. This devil comes with toxic yuri. Now, one thing about Red I didn't mention last time is that she is dead afraid of commitment. She's got her weird carefree lifestyle where she goes around sowing chaos and messing stuff up and stealing and not stealing and taking jobs and doing things. Which means no partnership will last her very long, and she likes it that way because why else wouldn't she? She's afraid of commitment. And the thing about that is that Red does not solve all of her problems by flirting. Not at all. She's not one of those characters. But she solves some of her problems by flirting, occasionally. Her problems are solved by a mix of flirting and murder, and sometimes other things, but mostly flirting and murder, especially murder. But Red flirts. The point I'm trying to get at is that Red flirts. And one of the people she's flirted with before is an Archduchess of the Hells, because of course Red would. Of course Red would. I'm going to need to look up some stuff, because we do just take the DND Hell layers, as far as I'm aware, into the lore, like the normal ones. I am going to have to look this up, so this is the sound of me looking shit up. Ah, fuck. Oh, ow. Oh. Ow, my computer fell on me. Okay, that was not planned. That was not planned, by the way, but let's sounds of me looking shit up. 5e D&D. Okay. So Red has gone on down in life to Phlegethos. That's one of the layers of the Hells, apparently. I don't know the names of them. I had to look them up. And that one's got two rulers. They're a father and a daughter. They're Belial and Fierna. And Red has definitely flirted with the daughter. The daughter did not like it. As in, like, the way my DM has chosen to characterize her, which, God bless him, because the few things I've seen of Fierna standard 5e just make her out to be, like, I don't want to say breasting boobily, but, like, don't take my word as fact, because, I don't know, but kind of a seductress. Just kind of, like, devil's sexy woman trope. And I think that's boring. My DM has chosen to make her a little control freak. So of course she doesn't like it when the Chaos Goblin waltzes in, plays her a game of cards, wins, flirts with her, and just leaves. How dare she? How dare the rat bastard just show up, call her a doll like 10 times over a game of cards, and just leave? She would like to not have that happen. She would like to be in charge of the situation here. She does not like it that the weird rat bastard lady is making her feel not in control of the situation. Now, out of that gamble, Red got an IOU. Yeah. She got an IOU from an Archduchess of the Hells. So Red's ready up to go to the boss fight. And she's like, you know what? Now or never is a good time to use it. So she uses the fucking IOU. And a couple shenanigans ensue, but eventually we do wind up talking to Fierna again. And Red's like, hi, doll. And Fierna's immediately just, like, pissed off. So with the IOU, Red gets to strike it in a deal. She's like, alright, you give me some help in this fight. You give me, like, some of your troops. One of your Ernies. Huh? And I will bet something in exchange. And Fierna's like, okay, I want your soul. And Red's like, if I die, you got my soul? Alright, deal, I won't die. She died. She very much died. And Fierna, being a little bit of a control freak, instead of just deciding to get a soul coin out of it, because, you know, soul coins in our setting are a dime a dozen. They don't really have that much value because there's just so many of them. Instead of that, she's like, you know what? I could. You know what? She just came into my life, did that a bunch of times, called me a doll, left. She pisses me off, so actually I'm going to get a devil out of it. And I'm going to get a devil that's just going to have to live in my fortress. And just deal with it. And that's how we get to Liz. Liz is the devil. She's got Red's soul. It's just that Red's soul has been transmuted into a devil by forces greater than herself. And therefore, same being at their core, but not the same person. Same being enough that she's still an opportunistic little shit. So Fierna appoints her as her casino dealer in her fortress. And Red kind of, like, hates it because, you know, servitude. That woman owns her soul. But this is where the toxic yuri part kicks in, because Red is still an opportunistic little shit. And you know how I said she solves her problems with murder and flirting? Murder's not an option here, but flirting is. So Liz immediately just starts, like, picking it up immediately. She doesn't know where she's getting the idea from, but, like, she's gonna call this devil a doll. She's gonna call that Archduchess a doll. And she's gonna flirt with her, like, harder than ever before. Because before it used to be, like, hee hee ha ha funny, like, elven woman flirt a little. Now it's like, Liz is gaming it. Liz is like, okay, if I can seduce her, then I can get perks. And she might own my soul,
but I can work with this.
This is why I say it's toxic yuri. It's toxic yuri as fuck. Like, one of them owns the other one's soul. That cannot be healthy. But the other one is also a terrible person who refuses to be, like, subjugated and is also trying to manipulate her. They both suck. The worst part is that it kind of does work out for Liz. She does successfully, slowly win over the Archduchess a little bit. And, like, they're not girlfriends. She is a consort, if anything, a lower class partner that the Archduchess has the grace to take on because she makes her feel nice. But there's no feelings attached. They're both gaming it. Except there kind of do start to be feelings attached. Toxic ones, but feelings attached. And obviously there's a deep power imbalance here, right? Because, hello, one of them owns the other one's soul. I need to state this again. Like, I feel like that. It's bad. They're terrible. Toxic Yuri moment. There is someone with more power than Fiona in this situation. Not over Liz directly, but in general. And that would be Fiona's father, Belial. So Liz starts thinking, what if Belial weren't in the equation? Then Fiona would be the sole ruler of Phlegethos. And because I get, little perks for being Fiona's consort, I would get more power. Hey, doll, how would you feel about overthrowing your father? And Fiona's like, that's a pretty good idea. I like that. So they start secretly planning and plotting to overthrow Belial. And along the way, they kind of get attached. Because, I don't know, planning a coup sounds like an experience that truly unites people. Liz feels kind of trapped because she is trapped. Hello, her soul is contract bound. And, Fiona's a little control freak. Fiona does not let her go too far or leave the plane or anything that she feels could risk Liz just fucking off and never coming back, because as a mortal woman, she had a penchant for doing that. So she's not letting that happen again. Except, at some point in the coup planning process, Fiona presents Liz with a contract. It is the contract Red signed, the one that gives Fiona dibs on her soul. And she's giving it to Liz, which means that Alizarin gets to own her own soul, which is pretty good, and honestly kind of a huge gesture coming from a known control freak. Liz is thankful, and she decides to do some escapades in the mortal realm. Strike some deals, mess with some mortals, trick some people. Fiona has to do a lot of damage control for her partner's exploits. Yeah, she's graduated to partner rather than consort now. Eventually she had to cave in. And Liz is getting kind of fond of this one, actually. Yeah, she's still a little uncomfortable at the idea of being stuck with one person forever, but it's not so bad. Yeah. So the two of them, still toxic Yuri, intrinsically, decides to unite their toxicity, and instead of being toxic to each other, they are going to take over Phlegethos and become a problem for everybody else. And I think that's beautiful. I guess as a final little note, Liz has on her right hand ring finger a ring. It's a plain white gold band, and yes, Fiona did give it to her. No, she doesn't much care for mortal partnership symbols, but Alizarin used to be mortal. Maybe she gives a shit. She doesn't, but she likes that it's nice and shiny. She likes nice and shiny and golden things. She shall accept it. They're really fucking bizarre. My DM really just said, yeah, your character died. I'm like, but Toxic Yuri though? And he's like, Toxic Yuri. I'm like, Toxic Yuri. Thank you, Taters, for the Toxic Yuri. Big shout out to Toxic Yuri. This video is sponsored by Toxic Yuri. Here's the full design. Let's see what else I can tell you about. She's got mauve hair, mauve fluffs on her neck and on her wrists. Because she was a fiery redhead in life, I was like, you know what? She's a devil now. I can make her hair into literal fire. So I did. She's kind of got lion-esque, tuft on the tail and big flowy mane. But she's still mostly a butterfly moth thing. That's why she's still a Alizarin, the butterfly devil. She also gets hooves. I don't know why. I just gave her hooves. I don't remember why we gave her hooves. But she gets hooves. And I kind of really like her hooves. I had to learn to draw great legs for this, but thank you, Liz. Now, the usual random stuff. There's a playlist full of videos like this one where I just talk about D&D characters for forever. There's commissions, which I take. Here's some of that. And like, comment, subscribe, do the thing. You can tip me on coffee if you want to, or more realistically, you can get a commission on coffee. You can get me to draw something for you. Okay, that's all. Goodbye.